Hi folks, thanks for joining me again today. Today we're going to tie an infected shrimp. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in the vise is a Hanak H310 barbless hook. This is a heavy wire hook and it's in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using today is the UTC. It's the 140 and as you can see it's brown. Now the first thing I'm going to do with this is get plenty of wax onto the thread. Now the reason I need plenty of wax today is because usually with these patterns I like to use adhesive foil to get my weight, but unfortunately I can't find my adhesive foil, so I'm going to have to use an alternative. I'll just get a bed of thread down the shank and remove my waste, and then I'm going to come all the way back up to just about 2mm from where I started my thread. Okay, so to get the weight on this I'm going to be using some of this stuff today. This is lead wire, it's flat, it's from Hens, and as you can see it just comes in a packet like that. I've already taken a piece out. Now it might come a bit crinkled, just gently rub it through your fingers like this and it will flatten out for you. Now it's not as, I don't like it as much as I like using the adhesive foil, but at a pinch it does a job, and I used this kind of thing for years before adhesive foil came along. So all I'm doing is catching a layer of the lead, not all the way but nearly the length of the body of the fly. When I get to the end I can just pinch that off, and then I'm going to come back. I've just managed to twist that there for some reason. I'm going to come back and about 2 or 3mm back from where I started the last bit of foil. I'm just going to add another bit of foil, and you keep doing this really until you've built up the profile you're after. Again, I've managed to twist it, so just straighten it out with your thumb and forefinger, lay it back on, and I'm just coming back a little bit each time, but this gives you that nice shrimp profile. And I'll probably get one more piece on just at the top here. And I'll just wiggle that away now. Now I'm just going to open my vise up so I can see what I've got. Yep, that's a nice profile, looks okay on your side. And I can lock the vise off again. Okay, I'm going to bring my thread just to the front here. I'm about an 1/8 of an inch from the eye of the hook, and what I'm going to do next is add a little bit of tippet material. It doesn't matter what you use as long as it's reasonably thin. This is 0.11. It's the Hanak fluorocarbon, and I've got a bit of that cut off ready to go. So I'm going to catch that in just at the tip here, and I'm going to bring it down. Now when I get roughly to about 3/4 of the body, I'm going to stop and I'm going to bring in some of my shellback. Now unfortunately I've lost the packet for this, but it's just standard sort of shellback stuff. It's brown. I've got other stuff, but I really like this. It's kind of got a bit of a sheen to it and it's quite thin. There's not a great deal of stretch in it, but there is a bit. So what I'm going to do with that to prepare it is just cut a little V in, like so, and then I'll just get my rib out the way, and I'm going to catch that V in just on the top with a couple of turns. Then I'm going to slightly stretch it out until I've got a good grip of it, and then I can come down, giving it a good stretch, not too much though that you snap it. And I've also got my rib in hand there, and I've taken that down. So my thread is now at the bottom of the fly, I've got my shell back in, and I've got my rib to the side ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some dubbing out. I'm using the trout stalkers. This is the tweaked natural. And I'm going to get a pinch of that out to use. Now I obviously don't need all this, but what I'm going to do is just feed my thread so that I bring the dubbing body to the centre of the fly, or more or less the centre of the fly. You know, it doesn't need to be exact. Now when you're dubbing this on, you can use squirrel dub or any other sort of dub you've got. You don't have to use what I'm using, just use what you've got. I've not dubbed it on heavily, it's nice and loose because I want to pick out some of that later on. Now, just need a little tiny bit more on this one. And then I'll bring that up to the top here. So I'll just put that dubbing down now, and what I'm using for the pink is, again, it's some of the trout stalkers dubbing, and this is pink rabbit fibre. And when you see, I'll take some out of the packet, which I should have had ready, sorry. It's a nice bright vibrant pink, very soft, and it spikes out well when you're pulling the legs out. So I'm just going to catch in a tiny little bit of that, don't need a great deal, and feed it up. Put that to the side for the next one, and I'm going to catch that in with a few turns there. Now you can make the hot spot as big as you like. I like it quite small. Then again, back with the scruffy dubbing, or whichever dubbing you happen to be using, and then I can catch in a little bit more of my dubbing. Then I'm going to come forward with that, and that's worked out quite well. I don't have to add or take any away. So first thing I'm going to do is bring my shell back over the top, just stretch it out a little as you come, then catch that in, get a couple of turns in, and then just lock it down with a couple of turns in front. Now some people just leave this on at this point, but I like to take it away, just something out of the equation that I'm not worried about. So just come in, it doesn't need to be dead tight, dead close to the eye. Just remove that, and then next try and make sure all your dubbing's off the back. Then with your rib, the fluorocarbon in this case, bring it up, and you want it to be about 1/8 of an inch apart each time to create the segments on the shell back. Don't worry about your hot spot, just come through, keeping your distance. If it happens to fall into the middle of one, all the better. If not, don't be worrying about it. And bring that all the way to the front of the hook where it can be locked down with your tying thread. Okay, once you're sure you've got that in place, make sure you come in front, and then you can remove your excess rib. It's a relatively quick fly to tie, this actually, and there's lots of permutations of it. It's a bit of a bogey fly for me, I've got to say. I don't really catch a lot of fish with shrimp patterns, but I do have them in my box because I know how effective they can be. So once you've got to the end here, come in with your whip finish tool, or a half hitch if you prefer, and finish that off. Okay, we're not actually finished yet. We've got to do another few bits and bobs which will just add a little bit of realism to the fly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a black a black pro marker here, and I'm going to colour in the head of the fly and the first section. This just gives the impression of a head. Now, when you come to varnish this or UV resin, you're always best to first of all varnish the bit you've just coloured in. So sweep your varnish forward to the eye, because what you don't want to do is spread that pro marker down the body of your fly. You know, you just want it in the head. So I've caught that now. I'm just going to cure that off. Now, for a fishing fly, I would more than happy just stick that away in my box after I'd sort of pulled out the legs, but as I'm going to be taking some photographs as always with these flies, I'm going to take my time and I'm just going to add a layer of UV resin to the back of the fly. And because I've cured that bit that I put the pro marker on, I'm not getting any colour bleed. So cure that. Just takes a couple of seconds. Now, you probably have seen some pictures of infected shrimps that have been done with resins and other things, but they're very time consuming, and I'm not sure they're any more effective than tying a quick pattern like this. And for me, it's all about fishing with the flies. So to finish off then, come in with your brush, and you just want to pull out some fibres to imitate the legs of the shrimp. And that's looking not too bad. So it's a simple enough pattern. Give it a go with different dubbins, different hot spots. Some people put orange in, purple. It's up to yourself really. You should experiment with fly tying, find something that works for you and give it a go. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about clicking the button now, and I'll see you all next time.